Hello guys, welcome back to another episode of Everyday EDC. My name is Tyler and today we are reviewing the Kizer Sheepdog in Micarta. So let's start off. I'm just going to hit you with the price right away because this thing seems like it should cost more money than it actually is. This is coming in at $89 from Blade HQ, and this is a Blade HQ exclusive. That's what this Micarta is. I wasn't sure if this was a green Micarta or if this was an actual black Micarta, but based on the looks, it's actually, once you get into some certain light, it's a black Micarta with the black BD1N blade steel. Let's see here. And I had to emphasize the N because there's a definite difference between BD1 and BD1N, according to some people. Some people say it's minute. I've never done testing with either, so I'm just going to go with, yeah, there's a definite difference. So anyways, so they call this actually a sheep's foot style blade shape, even though they advertise it in the description as a badass cleaver blade. So, yeah. I mean, I guess I could see how, if you're being facetious, that you're just going to declassify cleaver as like a blade shape at all and make this into a sheep's foot blade, but let's be honest, this is a cleaver blade. With this beautiful micarta, and it's textured just enough to let you know that you're holding onto micarta and gives you some grip. It's really nice. And then they have these nice little fullers, I'm going to call them, cut into the micarta for grip, only on one side, which is the show side, which is, I really truly do love everything about this knife. This pocket clip here is not ambidextrous, but it is gorgeous. It looks stupid because it's just a popsicle stick thrown on there, right? But tell me that doesn't work with the rest of the design, and I'm going to call you a liar, because it does. This fits perfectly with the rest of the design, and the design of the pocket clip itself is really, really nice. It's super functional. So as you can, we're getting into it here. You got some black standoffs. The liners are recessed, and if you can't see right there, there you go. As you can see, there's cutouts in the show side liners, but not the liner lock liners. Let's see here, unless we're missing anything. This is the other side view. As you can see, really thin knife. I did not expect this knife to be so thin. So we have a stop pin going on here. This is riding on ball bearings, and the action is perfect. I have no problems with the action. Actually, ironically, they did this so right that they overdid it with the action, and by that I mean it is a very, very stiff detent. Not stiff to the point where it hurts, but stiff to the point where it's really protecting this heavy blade from accidentally flipping out, and I guess I appreciate that gesture. I think that's something that gets overlooked sometimes. For some reason, you get into blade shapes that are huge, and Revo Berserk's a great example. I held the Revo Berserk, and I went to flip it, and like nothing happened. Like it just kind of rolled right back at me, and I'm like, what the fuck is that? I loved that knife, but the detent on it was like non-existent. It's like they put like a toothpick in there, and it broke off already once. So, yeah, we have a really nice flat grind that's coming down the length here, and then a swedge going this way and a swedge going this way on the blade, really providing a lot of strength to something that already looks like a workhorse of a knife. And the ergos on this guy, when you have this guy in hand, it is really thin. This, as I said, this handle is deceivingly thin for what you would imagine if you've never held one of these, but you know what? It feels good. I do wish it was a little bit more contoured, but I get it. You have this badass cleaver blade in your hands. In your pocket, it's going to be something that doesn't take up your whole pocket short of the flat profile that's wide. But when you take it out, you get a full-size cleaver blade to really assist in whatever you want to use cleaver blades for. I mean, the blade shape is fantastic. And actually, in full disclosure, I did carry this a couple days, and I did not want to use it on anything heavy duty because Jake sent this knife in, and I'm fairly certain he bought this and sent this in without using it, and I don't want to be the guy that just abuses a brand new knife. Not that I abuse any of them, but you know, it's kind of his. I don't want to take that away from him. I hate doing that. So all the screws on here also are lying to me. Apparently the body screws are T6. Is that what you're telling me? Yeah, apparently the body screws are T6. Did not expect that. They do not look T6, but the good thing about not expecting T6 screws is that means they're so recessed and it gives you so much bite that you really shouldn't have to worry about it. Once again, not going to verify that because this is his knife and it's brand new. And yeah, he bought a cool purchase with this. So thank you for sending it in again. The overall length of the Kizer Sheepdog coming in at about 7 3/4 inches. The blade length is coming in about 3.5, and the overall cutting edge is coming in right around. I'm sorry, the blade length is coming in at 3.25, and the overall cutting edge is coming in right at 3 inches. So while that sounds small, this isn't a small knife, but this is the medium size by comparison with the Kizer Mini Sheepdog and the Kizer Sheepdog XL. I've held the Mini. I think I actually own the Mini now. I think I traded Jake for it, but I've never held the XL. So yeah, we'll get there one day, guys. I gotta get you guys a review of that. You know, Sammy's chomping at the bit. Get an XL. Alrighty. Overall weight in this guy's coming in at 4.5 ounces. I'm not mad at that for how much of a hunking blade that you got going on there. Yeah, you got a really big piece of metal going on there. And for 4.5 ounces, it's kind of reasonable, in my opinion. Let's get you your blade stock thickness. So your blade stock thickness is relatively thin, coming in at just about 120 thousandths. So your behind the edge thickness coming in at a whopping 22 thousandths. Not mad about that behind the edge thickness at all. I'm shaky apparently. Yeah, about 20 thousandths behind the edge thickness. So this is going to be a better slicer than you would anticipate. This isn't your CJRB Krag, okay? I'm sorry for the people that like the Krag. The Krag was kind of obnoxious. Like, it was just huge, beefy, and once again, it's kind of like, reminds me of the Cold Steel Espada. Like, just close it, throw it at somebody, hope it knocks them out, and call it a day, right? That's kind of the same reference that I would use for the CJRB Krag. This is like... Okay, so first of all, the handles are pretty thin. Less than half of an inch. Very good. But to kind of finish that analogy or kind of runoff that I was having, this one reminds me of the CJRB Krag's cool, like, older brother, right? It's like, hey, Krag, like, what are you doing? And, like, this dude was in, like, once again, like, basketball, football. He's kind of jacked, but he's lean. He's wearing, like, the 28 size pants, and the Krag walks in, and he's still got, like, the 36 style pants, and he's just like, you know, I'm going to go get lunch. So that's what the Krag reminds me of in comparison with this. Clearly, I'm not a fan of the Krag. Sorry, Krag lovers. Overall height in your pocket is going to be pretty freaking big, coming in at about 1.78. To put that into perspective, the Manix 2 is coming in at a 1.74, which is a relatively tall knife, and I use that as my tall example. So this is going to take up a lot of surface area when it comes to the, you know, the width, right? Or the height, rather, in your pocket. But the cool news is that it's so damn narrow, it's much thinner. So it's kind of like putting like a piece of flat cardboard in your pocket that's a little bit more comfortable than cardboard. So as you can see here, here's the profile with these two. So you can kind of get an idea of what the profile is in your pocket. That needs to be shown because the profile of this guy is pretty freaking large. But the thinness is not too bad. Obviously, in length, this isn't the longest of knives, but it's shorter than the Spyderco Shaman, and it's a little bit longer than the Spyderco Para 3, but not by much. It would obviously be a much larger knife if this tip carried out, but the way they did this cleaver blade, it's not supposed to be this entirely huge, long knife. Here is your Rep Model 1 and your Rep Model 2. As you can see, larger than your Rep Model 2, smaller than your Rep Model 1. Usually where a lot of regular-sized knives are falling. Once again, for those of you that don't know, I show a lot of size references, not to flex on how many knives I have, but so that if you have seen or felt one of the knives that I'm showing, you can actually use that as a size comparison, rather than trying to read specs and saying, I think this is what it is. As you can see, it's a little bit longer than the Doris, a little bit. It's about the same length as the Brigand. The Brigand might have it a little bit because this point carries out just a slight bit more, but not much. Ooh. Alright, so here is your feldspar and your mini feldspar. As you can see, shorter than the regular feldspar, but not by much. just a little bit. And just a little bit longer than your mini feldspar. Let's do a quick recap for you guys, because if you guys got lost in my droning on. So this is a black micarta Blade HQ exclusive coming in at $89 with a BD1N blade steel, cleaver style blade that has a swedge running both the top and the, we'll call that the, whatever, I don't know what that's really called. Boom. The second cut right there going down the primary grind into the secondary grind. You have a nice little sharpening toil right here, which kind of does it right. It goes into right here, the angles, and so you got the sharpening toil right on this one. Everything about this knife is done fairly well. The fit and finish is great. It's got recessed liners. The liners are milled out. It's got pretty subtle back spacers, which are really cool. This pocket clip, which would be obnoxious on any other knife, actually fits the design really well. I really like this pocket clip for the design. The action's pretty darn good for being fresh out of the box. The only problem is that Detent'S a little stiff, but I can feel it actually loosening up as I go. There's no side to side, and the blade centering is damn near perfect, even though I'm aiming it at the wrong direction. So, what are my, ratings on this guy? So we're going to rate this, the ergonomics. This is going to get rated a 8.5. Why is this an 8.5? The only reason that you're getting an 8.5 and not a 9 or 9.5 is due to this deep indentation for your finger. The only thing that I am finding is because of this ramp coming down so steep, I find that I'm pushing my hand into the back of that flipper tab and the way this cutout goes, and it's kind of squishing my pointer finger. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, but I'm squeezing as hard as I can to prove a point. Under normal circumstances, you're a little bit more relaxed, and I don't think you feel it as much, but it's still something that exists. Action. We're going to give this guy another 8.5 on the action. Obviously, with a stiff detent, this is going to break in, and I really appreciate the stiff detent, but it does make it a little less fidget-friendly because it's not going to be as forgiving on your little fingers, right? The fit and finish of this guy is absolutely perfect. I think I tried to find a flaw with this. A flaw with the fit and finish, and I just can't. Everything about this guy is really good, especially for the price point of $89. This is a gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous looking knife, 110%. I very rarely give a fit and finish higher than a 9, and I'm going to give this one a 9. There's just a few things, that it's hard to kind of give something higher than a 9 for a fit and finish because, I don't know. I just feel like I reserve that. Aesthetics. This, can I just jump to the chase and tell you this is going to be a 10 in aesthetics. It's probably one of the first 10s that I've given aesthetically when I started rating the knives, and I just love the way this looks. I love the dark micarta, but it has contrasting lighter colors showing through with the dark blade, the blacked out hardware, the pocket clip, which would look stupid on any other knife, but looks so good on this one. Everything aesthetically looks just absolutely beautiful. She's a beauty. She's a 10. Value for $90. BD1N blade steel, a really large hunk of the BD1N. Very slicey blade, relatively thin blade stock, decent ergonomics, pretty good action. This thing ain't going nowhere, and it's gorgeous. Yeah, value's going to get at least an 8.5 to a 9. I mean, this thing's really good. Yes, you can take your Rat Model 2 to work every day, and it'll do everything you need it to do. YouTube channel over, knife community done, shut down Knife Nuts podcast. Blade HQ closes their doors, and Ontario just sells these. Okay. Or, we can appreciate and carry things like these pretty because we want to. And guess what? They're both extra functional just as much as the Rat Model 2, arguably, right? So what are my likes? Obviously, I love the looks, guys. Love the freaking looks. I really like the blade shape. I am in love with the sheep's foot, with the cleaver style blades, with the Warncliffe style blades for function. And their look, as long as you form the rest of the knife into it just right, just looks fantastic. For example, the Bull Mastiff, the Mastodons, thought they were ugly as hell. I get it. You open it up and it's a cleaver. I get it. It just looks like a cleaver. thought it was ugly as shit. This thing, absolutely gorgeous. Same thing with the blade shape. Ergonomics, even though I picked on the ergonomics, it actually locks you in really well to where you're going to cut and you're not going to lose control of the knife. So even though I knocked on the ergonomics just a little bit, it actually is something that I liked about it. The flipper tab. This is going into the dislikes, by the way. Did not do that segue at all. Into the segue of the dislikes. So what are my dislikes? The flipper tab. Aesthetically, the only thing that I guess I don't like is the flipper tab. But in their defense, what the hell else could you have done? Right? I feel like I'm looking at it and anything else would have looked even more stupid. While I don't like this, I don't have the answer for how to fix it. Therefore, I don't feel like I can actually complain. My other dislike, now this really isn't a dislike, this is kind of another want. That's what I end up finding with knives that I'm so infatuated with, that I do have wants, but I don't necessarily know that they're dislikes. BD1N steel. I don't really know much about it. It doesn't excite me. I mean, you guys know what I'm talking about. We don't need any of these blade steels, but certain ones excite you, right? You have your favorites. 14C28N. Throw it on there, that'd be awesome. 154CM. CPM 154, just like the Kershaw launches and stuff. Yeah, do that. That would be great. I just, BD1N just doesn't get me excited. It might get some people excited. I'm just not familiar with it enough. It feels kind of old to me. I feel like that steel's been around for quite some time. And yeah, so you guys get the point. I want a different steel. For $90, you're competing with, what is that, the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight came in BD1N. I guess, right? I would rather have CPM 154, 154CM, 14. I would even take 14C28N over that, just because I like 14C28N. So guys, that's all I got. This is the Kizer Sheepdog. Now, is this a forever knife? Ironically, no, because this is Jake's knife. Thank you, Jake. But I will be looking out for other models of this knife. So definitely, I could see myself owning one of these. Very good value, very recommendable. If you love the looks, you're not going to be mad at it in hand. And that is all I got for you guys. My name is Tyler. This has been Everyday EDC. You guys stay sharp, stay safe. Have a great friggin' night. Thank you all so much for watching.